Okay, so the first thing that you're going to need is a hair tie. I just get these at the Dollar Tree. It comes in a pack of 18, and I really like how they work for scrunchies. They stretch out a lot, but they aren't that big. It seems to hold really well. It doesn't really matter what hair tie you use. You can use whatever you have lying around or your favorite hair tie. You're also going to want some yarn. This is just Wait For yarn that I also was able to get at the Dollar Tree. They have a surprising amount of colors actually, so it's a good place to get yarn for projects like this. You need a 5.5mm hook, and I lost the 5.5mm hook in my set, so I was able to replace it also at the Dollar Tree. I don't know if they'll have all these in stock at your local Dollar Tree. It's kind of hit or miss. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do is attach your yarn to your hair tie. So the way I do that is I just kind of pull the yarn through on my hook, so I have kind of a makeshift loop, and then I pull through that, kind of pull it tight, and then I'm going to pull through that again just to really secure it on there, and then I pull on the ends. You can attach it however you want. So before we get started on the stitches, we're going to take that loose end and just tie it around the hair tie a couple more times just to really make sure that it's nice and secure. You can tie it however you want. There we go. Alright, so how I like to hold it is I just like to have the yarn between my index and middle finger, and then the rest of my fingers inside the hair tie. That's just how I found it's easiest. Do it however is easiest for you. So pull that nice and tight. Crochet around your tail, so just have it rest along the hair tie and it'll naturally crochet around it. So single crochet around your hair tie 40 times. 39 and 40. Okay, so you can do more or less depending on your hair tie. The pattern will still work no matter how many you do. So I did 40, and the most important thing is that you just want to cover the hair tie. You don't want to add too many single crochets because it stretches it out a little bit. You can see how this is where we started out in the size. So even just adding 40 kind of stretches out just a little bit. We don't want to stretch it out much more than that, and it also depends on the hair tie that you're using. You really could stretch it out as much as you want to. I just didn't want to stretch it out too much. This seemed like the sweet spot for me for this hair tie and this yarn, so please play with it and see what you end up preferring. Okay, so now you're going to slip stitch into the front loop only of that first single crochet that you did. Okay, so now you're going to chain 3. Okay, and then you're going to do a double crochet into that same front loop stitch that you slip stitched into. Okay, now you're going to double crochet into the front loop of the next stitch, and then you're going to double crochet into that same front loop again. And that's what you're going to do with every stitch for the rest of the row. Make sure you can see it. So double crochet into the front loop only. So normally you'd be doing that, but you're going to do only the front loop. You're going to double crochet twice. And then keep doing that all the way around, and I'll meet you back. Alright, so now that you're at the end, honestly, you could leave it just like this if you would like to. But I like it to be a little bit more of a full ruffle. I think it's more fun that way. And so I'm going to slip stitch right here. I'm going to chain 3. Then turn your scrunchie around. And we're going to find what looks like the back loop of that first stitch that we worked into. We're going to slip stitch there. Now it's a little tricky to find this first one. Honestly, it doesn't really matter a whole lot. So along here, those ones are pretty obvious. Right here, we're going to be working in double crochets on this side. And over here, it's pretty clear. Around here, it gets a little weird, but you can just make it up, honestly. Just choose somewhere that looks close enough. So I'm just gonna choose right here, find a little loop, then I'm gonna slip stitch. And then I am going to chain 3 again. And then I'm going to double crochet into that same loop that I slip stitched into. Okay. And from there, you're just going to do double crochets into each of those. I mean, they're front loops now. They were back loops when we were working this way, but the other half of that single crochet from the first row is what we're working into. We're doing the same exact thing that we just did, 2 double crochets into each stitch. Alright, so just in case you needed to see that a little closer, let's zoom in a little bit. So it's right there. It's pretty easy to grab. Once you know what you're looking for, it shouldn't be too hard. So there we go. Double crochet right into that loop. Alright, you've got it. See you at the end of the row. Alright, so I've made it all the way around. Now we're going to slip stitch into the first double crochet of the round. Alright, then cut your yarn. Then pull it through. At this point I'm going to wrap it around one of those double crochets. Just pulled it through right there, and now I'm going to tie it around the hair tie. So I'm going to stick my hook through both of those ruffles, pull the yarn through, but I am going to hold it with my thumb so it doesn't go all the way through, see, so you can see it go around the whole hair tie. And before I pull it tight, I'm going to put the end through that loop that I left on my fingers, and then I'm going to pull tight. Pull it good and tight, and then I'm going to do that same thing one more time. Don't forget to hold on to it so you can pull it through the loop. There we go. Pull tight. Now I'm going to grab a smaller hook. It doesn't matter what size. It's just a little easier to get your hook in there. Alright, so just insert it into those stitches next to it and pull your tail through underneath those stitches. There we go. Okay, and then just trim your end. There we are. So stretch out your scrunchie just to make sure the stitches fall evenly on the hair tie. And there you have it. There is your Ruffle Scrunchie. Okay, so this one is again with this weight 4 yarn and a 5.5 millimeter hook. We did 40 single crochets in the center before doing double crochets into each of those twice. I also made another one. This one I did with a cotton yarn, also purchased at the Dollar Tree, and it is also a weight 4, and I used the same size hook. I also used a 5.5 millimeter hook on this one. The main difference though is that in the center I did more single crochets. I did 60 around the middle. I did the exact same pattern, I just did more stitches. So you can see it is a little bit more ruffly. So it kind of gives you an idea of the variation you can do in your own scrunchie. Alright, and you can wrap it up all nice if you'd like. Pair it with another scrunchie that you've made. You can find plenty of templates like this for this kind of thing online. And there you have your Ruffle Scrunchie. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. I will catch you in the next one.